Did you know that the absolute fastest, most mathematically guaranteed way to ensure you stay completely broke for the entire duration of your adult life is sitting quietly in your driveway right this very second? I am not talking about your daily coffee habit, and I am not talking about the occasional expensive weekend vacation. I am talking about the universally accepted, completely normalized, and socially celebrated financial suicide known as the modern car loan. It is a highly sophisticated, meticulously engineered wealth extraction trap designed by the automotive and banking industries to legally separate the working class from their future wealth before they even have a chance to build it. Are you currently driving a beautiful, shiny new car, but feeling a deep, agonizing knot in your stomach every single time the first of the month rolls around and that massive payment is automatically deducted from your checking account? Have you ever calculated the true total cost of the vehicle, including the high interest loan, the premium insurance, the expensive dealership maintenance, the taxes, and the catastrophic depreciation, and realized that you are essentially working a part-time job just to pay for the heavy metal box that takes you to your full-time job? If you feel like you are trapped in a vicious cycle of working endlessly just to maintain a fragile illusion of status and success, you are in exactly the right place. In this video, I'm going to expose the brutal, unforgiving, mathematical reality of the car dealership industry and exactly how they psychologically manipulate you into signing your life away. And if you stick with me until the very absolute end of this video, I will reveal the exact highly guarded strategy that the ultra-wealthy top 1% use to completely bypass this trap, turning vehicles from wealth-destroying anchors into highly efficient, practically free transportation tools. To truly understand the absolute magnitude of this psychological and financial prison, we have to deeply analyze the massive, coordinated brainwashing campaign that you were subjected to from the moment you were old enough to watch television. For your entire life, you have been relentlessly bombarded by multi-billion-dollar advertising campaigns engineered by the smartest marketing psychologists in the world. You see highly produced commercials of handsome men and beautiful women driving sleek luxury vehicles through winding, empty mountain roads, looking completely free, successful, and powerful. The automotive industry sold you a massive, highly toxic lie. They convinced you that you are what you drive. They conditioned you to believe that a brand new car is the ultimate, undeniable symbol that you have officially made it in life. The terrifying societal threat was always the same. If you drive an older, used car, you are a complete failure, and nobody will ever respect you. But I need you to pause for a second. Step completely outside the matrix and think about the absolute terrifying financial insanity of this proposition. When you buy a house or a piece of prime real estate, you are buying an appreciating asset. Over time, because of inflation and scarcity, the land becomes more valuable. But a car is not an asset. A car is an incredibly heavy, highly complex machine made of thousands of moving parts that is actively rusting, breaking down, and rapidly losing its value the very exact second the rubber tires touch the public asphalt outside the dealership. It is a depreciating liability in its purest, most destructive form. Let us uncover the darkest, most carefully hidden economic secret of the modern automotive industry, the devastating reality of rapid depreciation combined with daily compound interest. When you walk into a shiny, brightly lit car dealership, you are not walking into a store. You are walking into a highly optimized psychological slaughterhouse. The salesman greets you with a warm, friendly smile, offers you a free cup of premium coffee, and immediately starts asking you questions about your lifestyle. But they do not care about your lifestyle. They are actively profiling you to find out exactly how much debt they can legally strap to your back. The biggest, most destructive psychological trick the car salesman uses is shifting your focus away from the total price of the vehicle and entirely onto the monthly payment. They will sit you down at a desk, pull out a piece of paper, and ask you the most dangerous question in the entire financial universe. What do you want your monthly payment to be? The second you answer that question, you have completely lost the negotiation. If you tell them you can afford $500 a month, they will magically construct a mathematical nightmare to get you into a $40,000 car. How do they do it? They simply extend the length of the loan. 10 years ago, the standard car loan was 36 months. Then it became 48 months. Today, dealerships are routinely writing catastrophic 72-month and even 84-month loans. That is 7 straight years of your life paying high interest on a machine that is violently losing its value every single day. Let us do some elementary school math together right now, because this is the exact terrifying, wealth-destroying math that the finance and insurance officers in the back room of the dealership intentionally hide behind massive stacks of confusing paperwork. Imagine you walk into a dealership and finance a brand new $35,000 car. Because you have average credit, they give you an 8% interest rate on a 72-month loan. Your monthly payment is roughly $615. You drive off the lot feeling incredibly victorious, smelling that intoxicating new car smell, completely unaware that you just made the biggest financial mistake of your decade. Here is the brutal reality of the Matrix. The very moment you drove that car off the dealership lot, it lost approximately 20% of its total value. Your $35,000 car is now immediately worth $28,000 in the real market. But remember, you signed a legal contract promising to pay back $35,000 plus thousands of dollars in interest. This creates a terrifying financial situation called negative equity, or being completely underwater. You owe the bank significantly more money than the asset is actually worth. 3 years later, the honeymoon phase is completely over. The new car smell is gone. The car has scratches on the doors, the tires need to be replaced, and the brakes are squeaking. The car is now only worth $15,000 on the open market. But because you took out a massive 72-month loan and your early payments went almost entirely toward paying the interest, rather than the principal balance, you still owe the bank $22,000. If you lose your job and need to sell the car to survive, you cannot. If you try to sell it for $15,000, you still have to magically come up with $7,000 in pure cash just to pay the bank the difference and get the title. You are completely trapped in a heavy iron cage of your own making. You cannot sell the car, you cannot stop making the $600 payments, and you are forced to keep working your stressful corporate job just to keep the bank from repossessing your vehicle and destroying your credit score. I need to ask you a very direct personal question, and I want you to be completely honest with yourself right now. Have you ever fallen into this exact dealership trap? Have you ever financed a car only to realize a few years later that you owe thousands of dollars more than the car is actually worth, and felt a sudden terrifying panic that you are stuck with a massive payment you completely regret? Leave your answer down in the comments below right now, because millions of hardworking people are silently waking up to this exact nightmare, dealing with extreme societal shame and crippling anxiety, and I want you to know that you are absolutely not alone, and you were systematically manipulated by a highly predatory industry. To make this brutal mathematical reality crystal clear, let me tell you a deeply personal story. I know a young man, let us call him Mark. Mark was 24 years old. He had just graduated from college and finally landed his very first real corporate job, making $55,000 a year. Mark wanted to look the part. He wanted his friends, his family, and his new coworkers to know that he was highly successful. So, his very first weekend after getting his first paycheck, he walked into a luxury car dealership and financed a beautiful, aggressive-looking sports car for $42,000. The salesman played Mark like an absolute fiddle. He got Mark into a massive 84-month loan at 9% interest. Mark's monthly payment was $750. On top of that, because it was a fast sports car and Mark was a young male, his premium insurance was $250 a month. Between the loan, the insurance, the premium gasoline, and the expensive synthetic oil changes, Mark was spending over $1,100 every single month just to keep the car running. That was nearly 40% of his entire take-home pay after taxes. For the first 3 months, Mark felt like an absolute king. He loved the way the engine sounded, and he loved the way people looked at him when he drove through the city. But very quickly, the dark reality of the financial matrix set in. Mark wanted to move out of his small, cramped apartment and buy his first house. But when he went to the mortgage lender, he was instantly denied because his debt-to-income ratio was completely destroyed by his massive car payment. Mark wanted to invest his money in the stock market to build long-term wealth, but at the end of every month, his checking account was completely drained. Mark's corporate job started becoming incredibly toxic. His boss was abusive, and he desperately wanted to quit and start his own small business. But he couldn't. He was a complete hostage. He was absolutely terrified that if he quit his job, he would miss his car payment, the repo man would come in the middle of the night, and his life would be ruined. Mark traded his ultimate freedom, his peace of mind, and his entire financial future for heated leather seats and a shiny steering wheel. That, my friends, is the car loan matrix, in its purest, most evil form. It actively punishes you for trying to look successful. It brutally penalizes you for caring about the opinions of people who do not care about you. And it infinitely rewards the banking institutions that gamble with the vibrant energy of your youth. If you are listening to this right now, and your blood is not absolutely boiling about how this massive game is completely rigged against young adults trying to build their lives, then you simply are not paying close enough attention to the financial traps set all around you. But I promise you, I'm not just here to show you the heavy iron chains wrapping tightly around your financial future. I am here to show you exactly where the system hid the key, and I am going to physically walk you through the exit door. Remember at the very beginning of this video when I promised to reveal exactly what the ultra-wealthy top 1% do to completely bypass this automotive trap and build massive empires? The time has finally come to deliver on that massive promise. The truly, generationally wealthy people. The visionary entrepreneurs who build disruptive technology companies. The aggressive investors who allocate capital, and the leaders of the new economy, they view cars in a completely different paradigm than the broke middle class. The middle class views a car as a status symbol to project fake wealth to strangers at a red light. The truly wealthy view a car strictly as a utilitarian transportation machine designed to move physical matter from point A to point B in a reasonably safe and reliable manner. The elite wealthy completely reject the idea of paying daily compound interest on a depreciating piece of metal. They understand one fundamental, unbreakable rule of the modern economic universe: the concept of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the ultimate secret weapon of the rich. It is the understanding that every single dollar you spend today is not just a dollar. It is the seed of a massive money tree that you are choosing to completely destroy before it ever gets a chance to grow. Let us look at the terrifying mathematical reality of opportunity cost. Remember Mark, the young man paying $1,000 a month for his sports car? What if Mark had completely rejected the matrix? What if Mark had bought a reliable, ugly, slightly scratched, 5-year-old used Toyota Camry in pure cash for $8,000 and kept his monthly transportation costs incredibly low? That would leave Mark with an extra $1,000 in his checking account every single month. If Mark took that exact same $1,000 and instead of giving it to a massive bank for a depreciating sports car, he invested it consistently into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund every single month for 30 years, what would happen? Assuming a historical average return of 8%, that $1,000 a month would completely compound and mathematically transform into over $1.4 million of liquid, untaxed, pure generational wealth. Let me repeat that, so it burns permanently into your brain. By choosing to finance a shiny sports car to impress people he doesn't even like, Mark literally threw away $1.4 million of his own future money. He traded becoming an actual literal millionaire for a new car smell that vanished in 90 days. That is the devastating reality of the opportunity cost matrix. The truly wealthy drive reliable older vehicles that they buy in cash. Did you know that the founder of Walmart, Sam Walton, one of the richest men in human history, drove an old beat-up Ford pickup truck for his entire life? Did you know that Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors to ever live, famously drives basic older American cars that he keeps for a decade? They do not care about impressing you. They care about keeping their capital deployed in cash-flowing assets that pay them while they sleep. They refuse to bleed capital into depreciating liabilities. So, get a pen and paper right now. Eliminate absolutely all distractions, because here is your actionable, immediate escape plan starting this very second. This is the exact step-by-step blueprint to permanently unplug yourself from the car loan matrix and take your financial power back today. Rule number 1. You must immediately perform a radical psychological shift regarding your ego and societal status. You must completely stop caring about what other people think of the car you drive. Nobody's actually looking at you. When you drive a fancy car, people are not admiring you. They are imagining themselves in the car. You must embrace the concept of stealth wealth. Be proud to drive an older, reliable, slightly ugly car, because every time you turn the key in the ignition, you know you are actively building a massive financial empire in the background, while everyone else is drowning in debt. Rule number 2. You must establish an unbreakable financial law in your life. You will never, ever, under any circumstances, finance a depreciating liability. If you cannot afford to buy the car in physical, liquid cash today, you mathematically cannot afford the car. Period. No exceptions. If you only have $5,000 in cash, then you are a $5,000 car person. Go on the internet, find a highly reliable brand like a Honda or a Toyota, pay a trusted mechanic $100 to inspect it, buy it in cash, and drive it into the absolute ground. Rule number 3. If you are currently trapped in the absolute nightmare of a massive toxic car loan right now, you need to declare a personal financial state of emergency. You must aggressively attack this problem today. If you have positive equity, meaning the car is worth more than you owe, you must drive it to a dealership tomorrow, sell it immediately, take the cash, buy a cheap beater car, and invest the massive monthly difference. If you have negative equity, meaning you are underwater, you must drastically reduce your living expenses, work aggressive overtime, start a side hustle, and throw every single extra dollar at the principal balance of that loan until you are at break even, and then sell the car immediately. You must escape the iron cage at all costs. Let us summarize this brutal reality before you go out and take massive action today. The entire modern automotive and banking industry is meticulously, brilliantly designed to extract your future wealth, enrich the banking elite class with endless interest payments, and legally trap you in a cycle of unbreakable consumer debt by manipulating your ego and your desire for status. The only possible way to win this completely rigged predatory game is to firmly decide to stop playing by the outdated, broken rules of the consumer class. Stop being a passive, hopeful victim praying for a raise to cover your massive car payments, and immediately transform yourself into an active, disciplined wealth builder who focuses relentlessly on deploying capital into assets that pay you back. If this terrifying information finally opened your eyes, if you feel like I just violently unplugged you from the psychological matrix of the automotive debt trap and potentially saved you millions of dollars in future wealth, then I need you to absolutely destroy that. Like button and subscribe to the channel right now. You absolutely cannot afford to miss the extremely high-level wealth-building strategies we have coming up next on this channel. And speaking of massive financial traps that society aggressively pushes you into the second you start building a family, if you want to deeply understand how the system legally traps adults in the biggest illusion of the American dream, and how to completely avoid the single most destructive 30-year mistake you can make with your money, you have to watch this video right here on the screen. In it, I break down the ultimate home ownership trap and show you exactly why buying a house is often a guaranteed path to financial stagnation. Click that video right now. Your future self will eternally thank you. I will see you over there on the other side.